Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and today we are checking out a channel which we have already reviewed once a while ago. You guys loved it, and it's called V Birchwood. So the lady in question, the creator of this channel, is basically a historical reenactor, and she reenacts everything from ancient Rome to ancient Greece. I think mostly classical antiquity, but I mean, then again, Mesolithic makeover. It's I'd say that yeah, if it's human, she's gonna reenact it. Anyway, so the channel is fantastic, and we did check out the video where she was like, I think she was eating ancient Greek food for a whole week. And in fact, her commitment is probably the one thing that stands out the most, apart from the accuracy of the historical images that she represents and brings back to life. I mean, look at this one. I wore ancient Greek clothing for 30 days. 30 days, guys. It's commitment. I mean, I recently made myself a video where I was only using 1980s tech for a week, and it's being edited. I'll post it on my third channel, link in the description to the channel, not the video, because I'm still editing it. Useless piece of extra information. But that already, 7 days, is a lot of commitment. 30? Goodness gracious. So anyways, remarkable. What we've got today, however, is that she slept on an ancient Roman mattress for a week. And I am so looking forward, first, to the information on the mattress. I mean, I am into ancient Rome. I'm a Rome fanboy, but to be fair, if you were to ask me what was a ancient Roman mattress like, I would have no idea. I love the fact that she's got already other things. Like here, I tried wearing ancient Greek bra. I mean, this would work for the Romans too, since those images, the mosaic, are specifically from the villa called Villa Romana del Casale. It's in Sicily, where I'm from. Anyways, let's jump right into it. I talk too much.
I really enjoyed the week some months ago where I tried sleeping on a medieval mattress for 7 days, but I made some choices during that shoot that I felt like I could improve upon in the future. I'm also a deeply curious person, so I felt like there was more to explore.
You wouldn't say.
In the realm of ancient mattresses. That's why I thought it'd be insightful and also fun to sleep on an ancient Roman mattress for a week, specifically one that an ancient Roman of a lower income might have available to them, minus the vermin like rats, bedbugs, and lice, obviously, since I really don't feel like introducing those into my house. You're likely wondering what ancient
We can use our imagination for that.
Roman sleeping practices entailed. Beds varied between economic classes. However, evidence seems to point to people of all classes owning real bedding and beds. This information actually quite surprised me, but when I thought about it logically, it made sense. If materials like canvas and straw were reasonably affordable, even for the poorest individual, this wouldn't be so far-fetched.
Yeah, plus humans are very ingenious, and people really are good finding ways to make do, particularly when they are people that have to face economic struggles. So the lower class is very ingenious as well with the things that they come up with, both from a dietary perspective, something that of course she's very well versed in. But in general, if you think about it, we often remember the ingenuity of the armorers and the architects and the philosophers and what are mathematicians, but it's the ingenuity, the inventiveness and ability to adapt and make the best out of what you have from the lower strata of society is something that really should have more focus. So I'm glad for this video.
For the mattress, Daily Life in Ancient Rome, the People and the City at the Height of the Empire, published in 2003 by Carcopino, states, on a base of interwoven strips of webbing were placed a mattress and a bolster, whose stuffing was made of straw or reeds among the poor, and among the rich of wool shorn from the Luconian flocks in the valley of the Meuse, or even of swan's down.
Interesting. So the Latin word is torus. Let me double check the phonemic vowel length, but my guess will be a long O. Maybe the U is long as well. And I was completely wrong. Torus. Torus. No phonemic vowel length. Thank you, ancestors. Appreciate that the one time. Because usually I do the other thing. Usually it's supposed to be long, and naturally to me it's instead short as a modern Italian speaker. But this time, there you have it. So guys, torus. Retracted S at the end.
But beyond this, other materials may have been used as well. In section 97 of Petronius's Satyricon, it says, I stuffed the bed with clothes and arranged them in the shape of a man about my own height, sleeping by himself. Although this quote does not prove that stuffing a mattress with clothing was a common practice, it does show that people have always utilized whatever materials were easiest and most readily available. Bed
Yep.
frames were made of wood for wealthy individuals, such as the lectus cubularis, and archaeological evidence shows that these were generally constructed of Italian silver fir, though the wealthiest individuals may have imported expensive woods from abroad. And for poor
For sure, yeah, and do keep in mind that there was a massive export of alpine wood from Italy to other areas. Even in the medieval period, a lot of archery and bows, for instance, particularly the famous English longbow, it's built not only using local wood, but also using Italian import. Because of course different woods have different characteristics, and do remember, and this is something I mention a lot, that for instance medieval ash would have been denser than modern ash, so sometimes specific choice, which might sound strange to us, may have to do not only with regional variation but with time variation when it comes to the constituents used.
For individuals or enslaved individuals, there was sometimes a bed called gravitas, which is sort of like a cot with netting. In Petronius' Satyricon in section 97 again, the author writes, "I told Giton to get under the bed at once and took his feet and hands into the webbing, which held up the mattress on the frame."
Not
I
very
ran into
nice.
some issues in the planning of this project, mainly that I don't have woodworking or carpentry skills, nor the ability or financial position to be able to commission someone to make an ancient Roman replica bed.
Crowdfund it. Patreon. Do you have a Patreon? Let me see if she has a Patreon. Birchwood. Excuse me, I'm talking. Does she have a Patreon? Patreon, there you go. How's she doing? All right, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, okay, nice. She needs some support, guys. We need to get that bed. We need to get that bed. So leave a link to her Patreon. See if we can hit 1,000. That would be nice. I mean, it kind of depends on how the video goes. I don't know if people are interested in this kind of topic. My videos are always up and down. But hey, let's get her a bed, guys. Let's get her a Roman wooden bed.
Therefore, I had to come up with an idea that would not only have been feasible for the period, but also feasible for my budget and skill set. I read a fascinating article from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, or AASM.org. The article was written by two MDs, Dr. Demetrios Kantas and Dr. Valentina Gnoni. They described some of the sleep practices in ancient Rome, and at one point they mentioned, in contrast, there were no bedrooms for poor people. They lived in little houses called insulae that were buildings with multiple floors composed on different flats called synaculum.
It is fascinating to me that they call them insulae, because that's also the word for islands. But it's also used for apartment house. So, of course, island, that's the obvious if you're a Roman speaker. Apartment house, less obvious, but if you know a little bit of Roman town planning and civic structuring and organization, you would have heard of that. But I never heard them used specifically in this context. So buildings for the poor. I mean, it makes sense because the apartments, I guess, yeah, sure.
Often a family used to live in only one big room in which the bed was a parallelepiped of walled up and plastered bricks on which there was the mattress. They also mentioned this mattress being a sack filled with dried vegetables, which I had no idea what this meant, as dried vegetables can be many things.
Anything, yeah.
It felt suddenly like there was an option that was possible for me that was also potentially historically accurate for ancient
Yeah, and even like leaves, maybe, some parts of vegetable, not necessarily the parts you eat.
Rome. I wasn't really able to find other sources mentioning these plastered brick foundations for beds, but this source felt solid enough, no pun intended, that I decided to go in this direction. Since quite a bit of evidence from ancient Rome shows us that straw would have frequently been used to stuff mattresses, I decided to opt for this material for my own stuffing. This felt very similar to my experience with the medieval mattress week, but there I used hay as it was a material more accessible to me, so this time I wanted to get my hands on some actual straw, as to make the experience even more similar to the actual ancient Roman one. Pillows or bolsters could be stuffed with a variety of materials, from wool or down to straw. In some cases, for those who couldn't afford additional materials, the pillow could even just be rolled up clothing. There isn't a
I have used that, you know. I think in life sometimes you have to adapt. At the end of the day, rolled up clothing works. Won't give you like excellent support for like your spine and all that kind of stuff. But then again, it works. I think I would prefer rolled up clothes over a straw-filled pillow. Straw-filled mattress, sure. But straw-filled pillow, I don't know why. It just gives me this idea of I'm gonna puncture myself. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. She'll let us know.
A ton of information about the materials used for the outer fabrics of the mattress or for the bedding. So I decided to just use my reasoning skills and go for hemp canvas for the mattress and pillow covers, since hemp was readily available and commonly used in ancient Rome for all sorts of different purposes. And for the bedding itself, I opted for linen and wool, both of which also existed in ancient Roman times. Regarding sleep practices, and take this all with a pinch of salt, as a lot of it is a possibility rather than a certainty, as evidence for ancient Roman sleepwear is quite scarce. But ancient Romans probably either slept without any clothing on, or they would sleep wearing their undergarments, such as the bust wrap called strophium, which I've experimented with in other videos, as well as subligaculum, or the loincloth, which I've also experimented with in a video. Additionally, sometimes a tunic would also be worn to bed over the undergarments.
I imagine if it was cold. One thing I just have to say it, guys, I don't know if it's just me, but looking at her with all this wool, I don't know about you, maybe it's the type of wool, but whenever I try this, it gets so irritated and I have to scratch myself all the time. But again, I think it has to do with the quality of the wool. I'm sure she's got some really nice quality of wool.
Without any clothing on, which I've experimented with in other videos, as well as subligaculum, or the loincloth, which I've also experimented with in a video. Additionally, sometimes a tunic would also be worn to bed over the undergarments. The ancient Roman tunic is very similar to the ancient Greek chiton, which I've made quite a few of. Now, there is evidence that medieval European people and even Victorians may have slept biphasically, or more so followed segmented sleep, meaning sleeping in two parts during the night. However, evidence seems to show that this is not the case in the same way for ancient Roman people. They likely had a siesta or a short sleep during the day, but would have one long sleep that went through the night, rather than waking up in the night and then going back to sleep again until morning, as was likely the case with medieval people or the Victorians. Laura Nissen states it was not necessary to sleep during the siesta, but other activities such as bathing could take place then. So the siesta likely didn't even mean only sleep, but just time for taking rest in general. I'm filming this introduction after I've already underwent my week-long experiment, and I'm very excited to share the results with you, as
she does look a little tired. Let's have a look. Let's jump into... Okay, so there is a sponsor. Good for you. Good for you. Take that money.
Exactly what I wanted as a mattress cover. I made some back stitches with waxed linen thread and tried to utilize the selvages whenever I could. Then I moved on to making a brick foundation. I laid some bricks side by side to create a base to set the mattress on top of. I'll explain in just a moment why I decided to do everything this way. I just carried so many bags of bricks and stacked them all, but the foundation is done. Thankfully. I'm actually standing on the brick platform right now. I want to get the experience of having the brick as a surface layer, which is why I'm only layering up one time, because I'm not a bricklayer. I don't know how to plaster bricks together. And underneath the bricks, I just laid a bamboo mat, and obviously bamboo is not ancient Roman, but it's just the thing that I had because I didn't want the bricks scratching my wooden floor.
That's totally fine. Is her hair longer than mine? I don't know. Let me see. We got a little context here. Remove those freaking subtitles for a moment. So her hair reaches below her waist. This is the waistline, right? Because she's wearing this one up. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win here? I don't know. It's either very close or it's a victory for me, guys. Up to you to decide.
And I got straw this time, not hay, because yeah, there were so many comments about that on the medieval mattress video. It is really roughly cut though, so it doesn't have that full-length straw springiness, but it's what showed up. I'm not going to return 30 kilos of straw, and we're just gonna work with that. Having the brick foundation layer, literally, makes so much sense to me, because sleeping directly on the ground, as I discovered in the last challenge, and as I've discovered in my own life from backpacking a lot, it's very, very cold and get very cold quickly if you don't have enough insulation underneath you.
Interesting that she mentions the cold aspect of it. Sure, when I slept in Japan, because of course I lived in Japan for 4 years, and at first I had a futon for the first month. And even though futon is not directly sleeping on the floor, it's still extremely thin. For the Japanese, it's normal. But for me, my back hurts so badly, I would wake up in the middle of the night. So luckily, I upgraded to a bed in the sense that my employer gifted me a bed. because you could see it's like, okay, this poor Western guy is just, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna make it. So like you could see him in the morning, and I was like miserable. So he gifted me a bed, which I really appreciated, and that really made all the difference because I just need a freaking bed. Maybe it's not the same for you. Who knows? Maybe it's a back problem of mine. Maybe it's a spine problem of mine. I haven't got a clue. But I didn't have a good time with a futon, so sleeping on the floor, I wouldn't do it even for $1,000. I wouldn't do it. I mean, for 10,000. I might spend the night in, for 10,000 I would do it. For 1,000, no.
And not to mention, ancient Roman households, especially for poorer people, would have had a lot of vermin and things crawling on the floor at night. So yeah, you don't exactly want that on you whilst you're asleep, so sleeping directly on the floor would not have been a wise idea. That's why it makes so much sense to me that they would have some sort of plastered together brick configuration or some sort of foundation to then build on top of. Alright.
It's just funny though to think about it. She's literally sleeping on bricks. I mean, she is. Given she's putting something in between, we'll have to see the thickness of that. She still is, though, technically sleeping on bricks. Can you guys remember that? Thank you.
So I've got my fully sewn hemp canvas sack here, and it is quite heavy. Let's go and fill it up with straw.
I'll tell you something about hemp in a moment.
So now it was time to stuff the mattress with straw. I put on a dust mask and turned on my air purifier and got to stuffing. In the medieval mattress experiment, I set the entire bale with the plastic removed into the mattress cover, and then I jumped on it to spread it out, so it was more compact than what maybe would have been done historically.
Whoever sent it to her probably thought she had a farm or something.
I really heard the feedback on this matter in the comments section, and that's why this time I decided to separate the straw and set it into the cover a handful at a time for a bit more of an accurate experience. Then I pinned the open edge shut. Straw was everywhere. It was an absolute mess.
We had vacuum. They had brooms. That movement is oddly ancient looking. Yeah, I wanted to tell you this about hemp. So my Brigandine has the one they did, the blue one. I'll see if I can show you a picture of it. Okay, so this is my Brigandine. It's based on the Leeds example, and I always want to specify, yes, it's found in Leeds, the museum. It's still an Italian specimen, and it was made for me by Alexei Perebenos, and as you can see, it has a lovely, lovely medieval tightness at the waist, hourglass shape, if you will, which I was pointing here on this picture, and the outside layer is hand-spun silk velvet. And of course, we've got almost over 2,000 brass rivets, which were handmade. However, the inside is hemp, like she's saying. Just want to see if I have another picture of it. Okay, so here is a close-up of the Brigandine. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous specimen. Look at that. But anyways, this is the inside that you can see here. And underneath the metal plates, you have the hemp layer. And the feel, you could say to me, yeah, but I mean, you're literally wearing the metal plates, so it's not like you know what the hemp feels like. And apart from the fact that you can stick your fingers, and of course I have, to kind of see how it felt, and it's a little rough, but it's not something that I wouldn't want to wear, like in the case of wool for me. But my Armin doublet, the one based on the paintings by Piero della Francesca in Tuscany, the one that I often wear in a lot of my videos, this one also has an inside. You can kind of see the color here. It also has an inside of hemp, and it's nice. It's in fact a little refreshing, if I may find a word for it, if you'll excuse the expression in this case.
I am done, and I am absolutely exhausted. Oh, this is kind of comfortable.
I thought so.
This is really nice, actually. It's quite a different experience laying on the straw when it's not just like a big bale that I then jumped on a lot to try and break up like I did the last time because I didn't want to deal with the massive amount of mess, which I still haven't cleaned up behind me. Well, that was quite the day. I'm going to be exhausted by tonight, for sure. I will hit the straw. Why are my
That's a
thumbs
good
like
one.
this?
That's a good one.
Why is this the bane of my channel these days? I'll see you all later tonight for night 1. Goodbye! I
How
added
many
a
nights
linen
did
sheet
she
for
do?
warmth and coverage, and also to create a little extra barrier between me and the straw dust. I'm in bed and it's night 1, and I'm actually super comfortable. I was feeling very cozy when I first saw my bed, and I was getting really excited, honestly, to be able to jump into it and yeah, just test it out for the first night and see if
I can see that, like the excitement of this is something that every historical reenactor, whether it be ancient Rome, medieval period, and even, I mean, Napoleonic Civil War, it doesn't really matter what you reenact, freaking prehistory, is the excitement of trying something new that we know that our ancestors did in the past. It's really fantastic, and the reason why it's so exciting is because it is experiential knowledge. Like you can literally read 1,000 pages on the experience of sleeping on a medieval bed or an ancient Roman bed in this case. Yeah, sure, you'll learn a lot, and I'm all for academic book study. You know, when you wear the thing or when you do the thing, that's really what makes a massive difference. And this is also why, apart from the fact that it looks awesome, this is also why it is so important to, for like reenactment, to really wear the stuff when it's properly made. This is the Pembridge helmet from the late 14th century, and you know the weight of it, the heft of it, the feel, once you wear it, how much can you actually see, all of those questions, you can read about them, but once you actually experience it, it's a completely different thing. Not to mention, I think it makes me sound really cool. You know, excuse me this one, heathen scum. No offense to any pagan meant. How it goes. I'm wearing my ancient Greek chiton, but it's pretty similar in cut to the ancient Roman tunic, and this is often what women slept in during ancient Roman times, so it makes it feel like an even more real experience. Sure. I'm curious tonight whether or not I'm going to need a pillow, and if I wake up tomorrow and I'm like, yeah, my neck is aching, I definitely need a pillow, then I'm going to take some more of this hemp canvas and basically stuff it with straw and create like a little mini pillow for myself. This feels so nice. Ah, I love it. So cozy. I'm gonna turn off the lights and go to bed, and I'll see you all in the morning. Good night. Let's see how she experienced. I'm still awake, I'm just hiding under here. Okay. Let's see. Good morning. Morning. So I just woke up and I slept for, I think, a nice long 8.5 hours, except I woke up, from what I remember, about 5 times in the night because I couldn't quite get comfortable. There's some parts of the mattress that are a lot firmer than others because the straw will move in the night. My voice is cracking a lot because I just woke up. Yay! Trying to adjust myself. Sleeping in this ancient Greek or ancient Roman dress is very comfortable, actually, and I kind of want to make a bunch of them now that I wear for bed in my usual life. That would be really cool. And I definitely need to make a pillow. I'm feeling the most pain. That's what I was, you know, when she said that, I'm like, you know, I appreciate that she's testing it, but I already know that if she doesn't at least approximate the pillow, this is gonna hurt the back of her neck. In my hip and in my neck. So I told you. If I make a pillow today, then the neck pain should hopefully subside. Wow, what was my wrist doing there? There was some hypermobile stuff going on. Very cool. All right, so of course she's gonna document all the rest of the days, and I'm gonna leave that for her video. So we'll give her a like, and then if you want to know how this experiment proceeded, did she survive or not? Oh my gosh, this looks like she's dead. Let me find a screenshot where she doesn't look dead. Like, okay, well, here she doesn't look dead, I guess. Okay, here she doesn't look dead. She's smiling. So yeah, no, this is fascinating. As always, when I do these reaction videos, I prefer not to react to the entire experiment. We had a little bit of a demo, if you will, a taste of what it was for the first night and first morning, and then the whole introduction. But I do strongly suggest you, if you found that one interesting, to go and watch the rest of the video, give it a comment, give it a like, give it a subscribe.